The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash,
a roundtable of Cowboys insiders,
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Newy Scruggs.
Welcome to the Media Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com radio. It's about to be pinned.
It already is, boy. It already is.
That's fine. Jon Machota's choosing violence today.
Oh,
kids.
man.
Jon Machota, The Athletic, Kevin Gray, 105.3 The Fan, and Patrik Walker.
I feel like we intruding, Pat. I feel like we need to go in the other room and just let you know.
I'm Newy Scruggs.
I'm grabbing popcorn.
Enjoying my deja blue.
Hey, there you go. There you go. There you go.
Nice plug, by the way.
That's good.
Yes. Cowboys
help you cool off a little bit.
Facing the Eagles.
Yes.
I'm expecting Gardner Minshew. With Jalen Hurts on a short week, throwing shoulder, you've made the playoffs. You got bigger plans. I am thinking it'd be silly to play him. Let's just go around the room and get your thoughts. What do you think happens at the quarterback spot for the Eagles?
I think Gardner plays. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to take it to the wire and make it, it's a game-time decision, but I think they've already made the decision because they only need to win one more game to clinch the number one seed, and they have bigger goals in mind. So you definitely don't want to risk Jalen Hurts to a game that means so much for the Cowboys to try to stay in the hunt, and then especially the two games thereafter. So, yeah, I think Gardner plays.
Yeah, I think Gardner Minshew plays. It's just sad that I feel like the sizzle of this game over the last couple of games is, at least for me, is kind of been taken away. The Cowboys lose to Jacksonville on Sunday, and then you get the news about Jalen Hurts, who's obviously, in the MVP race, and now obviously with the Cowboys' outside chances of winning the NFC East and the number one seed in the NFC all gone now, it's just taking a little bit of sizzle away from me in terms of this game. But I expect Gardner Minshew to play in this game on Saturday.
Yeah, I do too. It actually kind of reminds me of the NBA where there's those years where whether it was like the Spurs and the Lakers or maybe even the Warriors and Cavs where, you get that Christmas Day game you're all pumped for. You're like, oh, this could be a preview. And then like a key player doesn't play on either team. So it's not the full roster. There's always someone missing. That's the way this seems because I just feel like these two teams are destined to meet again in the playoffs,
Yeah.
And so then now there'll be a ton of hype behind that game. It'll be at Philly, probably be in the divisional round. And so that'll take over for this one. But because of this, the way that the Cowboys played on Sunday and then Jalen Hurts not being out there, that just is not going to have the same feel. But it'll have a really bad feel though if that does happen. and the Cowboys lose that game.
Cowboys are favored. They're favored in this football game, and I said on the Players Lounge podcast, they're going to run the ball. At the end of the day, this is real simple. Gardner Minshew. Now look, not going to run like Jalen Hurts, but they're still going to run the football because this has been a problem for the Dallas Cowboys. Travis Etienne had basically been in pedestrian mode the past 2 weeks. Breaks off 100 yards. And the dude wasn't even healthy.
No LB.
So, yeah. So no matter what the quarterback was, the game plan was to run Gardner Minshew. He's going to go out there and turn around and Sanders and their host of running backs here. I mean, it's anybody facing the Cowboys not running.
Foolish.
Correct.
Well, I mean, now you can look, though, across the way and see whoever the number 2 corner is. And while, I'm sure the game plan would be to run the football, I'm sure if you were going to be Jalen Hurts coming into the game, you're going to be licking your chops and looking at Devontae Smith going against whomever, whether it be Patrik or myself, whomever's going to be playing corner for the Cowboys.
I'll take that game.
On Saturday, they were going to be licking their chops. But, yeah, definitely going to be protecting Gardner Minshew with the run game and let him take some chances in some play action, I think.
And I do believe they're still going to look to run the ball. But and I said this on Talking Cowboys this morning, the game plan is still going to be not necessarily wildly different, but it's going to be different versus if Jalen Hurts were in the game. And it's because while Gardner Minshew has some mobility, he and Jalen Hurts in that category are not even in the same galaxy, right? So with Jalen Hurts in, it's a run first, and then let's get it downfield. And that run first scenario, it could be your halfbacks or it could be Jalen taking off. But when you switch Jalen out for Gardner, as a Cowboys defense, you have to be aware of Gardner, but you can track him down if he tries to burn the edge. That's a different situation from Jalen Hurts. And also, that unlike what you were able to do or unable to do against Trevor Lawrence, if you get your hands on Gardner Minshew, you're much more likely to get him to the ground than Jalen Hurts if you get your hands on Jalen Hurts. So for those things alone, advantage Cowboys. And it's just a matter of, like Kevin so eloquently put it, it's obviously not Trevon Diggs. It's not Deron Bland. Who's that cornerback, too, that's playing opposite Trevon Diggs? That's where Gardner is going to be targeting.
That's probably the most disheartening thing coming out of that loss on Sunday is that loss, in the Green Bay loss, you had those opponents exactly where you want them, where they have to throw. You can pin your ears back. And again, hey, Trevor Lawrence, the way he played in that game, Aaron Rodgers. It's not like it was just nobody that went there and did that. But the way that this Cowboys defense is playing right now, if Gardner Minshew came out there and was slinging it around and was having an exceptional game, we have to see this defense make stops against it because we can't judge them on what they were at the beginning of the season. We have to judge on what we've seen them recently. And so, but the main part of that is what you said. It's that other cornerback spot. You can't be getting beat on double moves when you have, a 17-point lead and giving up big touchdowns like that. And that's happened with Calvin Joseph this game. Deron Bland gave up the big one against the Packers when those games are where they were at. With what we thought this Cowboys defense was, those should have been just, the game's over. Let's close that out. So I'm interested to see how they play against the Eagles. I wanted to see how they were going to play with Hurts because I really felt like this Cowboys team coming off the way they've played recently, we're going to have their best game. Now with Hurts not being there, I just think psychologically, I don't know if you are going to see the absolute best out of this Cowboys team.
I think it would behoove them to provide their best coming off of the loss in the way that they did. Now, we talked about Jacksonville, and everyone here can agree. And this was pregame, so this is not in hindsight. Jacksonville is a better team than the Houston Texans. They're a better team than the Indianapolis Colts. Jacksonville offensively has horses. They have Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, Travis Etienne. You know he's going to test this run defense, especially when you lose LVE in the first quarter, so forth and so on.
Boom.
Here's an Eagles defense that also, guess what, has horses at every stable offensively. And if I'm not mistaken, Dallas Goedert is on the way back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So Dallas Goedert right back in this mix with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And, again, you don't necessarily have to worry as much about Gardner Minshew coming out of the backfield as a runner, but you have to now worry about him being a pass first, and you don't necessarily know the answer to your CB2 question just yet. So it's a glaring red mark sitting there on the bulletin board.
Bart Scott, when we used to do NBC Sports Radio together, he would always tell me, Newy, styles make fights. Football is like that. And Philadelphia was beat. Put together to beat the Cowboys. Like, this is what we need. And
That's facts.
There's a real irony to that, too, by the way, that I was thinking about.
And right now, you just kind of look at the Cowboys' deficiencies and you look at the advantages for Philadelphia right now. Hey, man, it's a problem. So, thus, you used to need some pride, or maybe you pull a rope-a-dope rumble in the jungle on Saturday night at AT&T Stadium. But just looking at this thing on paper right now, and just looking at where the Cowboys have some question marks, you're like, wow.
That's interesting you say that, though, about the styles make fights. So I agreed with that to a certain extent, but I also think at the end of the day, it's about the players on the field. And I don't look at this Cowboys roster and see a team that, geez, I hope they can just scheme it up and maybe they can hang with. No, roster is loaded.
Yep.
That will be the thing that will be deciding jobs at the end of the season if this thing comes up short. Yep. It's not going to be because, it's another disappointing Cowboys. It's because of what's out there. It's what's out on the field. Nobody, front office, scouting, coaching staff, players, nobody in this building thinks that they don't have the talent. Well, so there is going to have to be something scheme-wise, players stepping up, whatever, but they have the talent there to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay, so you've looked at this defense the last 3 weeks. You've lost guys. You've lost your starting nickel. Lost your starting outside corner.
Jonathan Hankins
cool.
interior.
And if you give me the option to sign up for that or losing my starting quarterback, my backup quarterback, my number one playmaker, everything in Deebo Samuel, and that ship just keeps rolling.
Yeah.
So that's how football is. You're going to lose guys like that. They still got Dak Prescott out there. They still got CeeDee Lamb. Still got Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Trayvon Diggs. I think there's a lot of people that would like to be dealt that hand of cards.
And to that point, they lost Dak Prescott 5 games, went 4-1. So, there you go. Scheme it up.
Go around the table. What did you have the Cowboys winning in terms of games this year?
Oh, I think 10 or 11.
11.
I had 12 and 5.
Okay, so they're on point right now for what you guys thought
Yeah.
here. I had them at 9, but coming down the stretch right now, they're holes, and they're not the same defense that they were the first 8 games of the year. You've lost guys, and so we could talk about what they're doing in San Francisco here. Despite his ability in Super Bowls, I think Kyle Shanahan's a really good coach. Fourth quarter Super Bowl, I don't know what happens, but
You saw what happened.
they're really good.
Twice.
D'Amico Ryans should be somebody's head coach next year. What they've done with Brock Purdy and his ability with quarterbacks, hey, this guy's really, he's really, really good. But come Saturday, when I look at what Philadelphia does well and where Jerry talked about, we got some concerns and issues right now. Got some stuff to fix. Vegas still says the Cowboys are favored to win this thing.
Yeah.
They build buildings, make a lot of money out there for a reason. And the Cowboys could very well win this thing. But with Tennessee and Washington left, I've got concerns about where this team ends up.
It's funny. I want to go back to a point you made about how these styles make fights and how Howie Roseman's built this roster. I was thinking about something the other day, and the Cowboys, based on what they had personnel-wise just a couple of years ago, what did the Philadelphia Eagles do? They went out and got Darius Slay.
Right.
One of the big reasons why Darius Slay was acquired by Philadelphia was the work that he did against Amari Cooper. So you were talking about how Philadelphia has been built to try and beat the Dallas Cowboys. They have been planning for this for the last year, 2 years, based on what they feel like they could build roster-wise. And it's just ironic that Slay is still with the Eagles, and, of course, Amari Cooper no longer around here. And now there's questions about what your wide receiver room is looking like outside of CeeDee Lamb based on some of the things we've seen, despite the way that Noah Brown played on Sunday for the most part in one of the biggest plays of the game. What happens?
And it's not the first time, nor will it be the last time you see an NFC East rival or divisional rival take a 1-2-3 year approach to dethroning whoever might be dominant at the time. The Cowboys did it in the RG3 era. They were getting the floor wiped with them by RG3 when he first came in out of Baylor in those couple of years before injury really took hold. And it took them switching their entire scheme. They went from 3-4 to 4-3 and then put some personnel in place, and all of a sudden they overtook RG3. And now you're looking at the Eagles trying to do that. We'll see how the rest of the season pans out. But to your point, the Eagles most certainly did it. But for me, it just goes back to the Cowboys, and I love what Jon said. It's as much about scheme as it is, for me, execution. If you look at why, go back and look at the film and ask yourself, simple question, why did the Cowboys lose this game against the Jaguars? Yes, roses to the Jaguars because, as I said, they have horses. They have a talented head coach, a talented quarterback. They have Zay Jones. They have all these weapons. But the Jaguars didn't win that game. The Cowboys lost that game. Right? And it's because of execution errors. The first interception from Dak Prescott, you can't throw that. You can't throw that. Take the sack, check it down, try to get a couple yards, live to fight another day. He said it himself. He's willing to admit that. Great. Fine. The interception that was the tip drill to Noah Brown. Kudos to Noah Brown. He took full accountability. He said there are no excuses for that. He's right, and there aren't. Dak Prescott put that ball where it needed to be put. It hit Noah right in the shoulder pads, tipped up in the air, pick 6 ball game. It's those types of errors. Kelvin Joseph biting down on the double move after you've already given him space and you're up 17 points. You can't have that. Then Marvin Jones puts him in the blender for the second touchdown. It's execution, right? Even Anthony Barr, who I'm still high on, he did not have a great game. Travis Etienne, the speed, took advantage of Barr when LVE was not on the field. These are execution issues. If you clean up the execution issues, and to their credit, they've cleaned up the penalties. They had only 2 penalties. Is this the same team that was going through the penalty-demic, as I call it?
As soon as you think that's gone, though, that will come back. Trust me,
right.
That will happen.
And hopefully not, but you might not be wrong because we've seen it kind of go in flux.
Different officiating.
For me, it's just
ways.
For me, it's just execution. This Cowboys team, of their 4 losses, you can't point at a single one of them and say the other team flat out beat them in the head. Even back in week 1, 19-3, that wasn't them getting beat in the head. They played the worst football I've seen in a long time as far as the Cowboys offense is concerned. So the question becomes, can they consistently stop shooting themselves in the foot? Can they consistently execute to keep the run defense shored up, to keep the penalties problem from showing back up, so forth and so on? And if they can, then yes, this is a Super Bowl team. If they cannot, sooner or later, you're going to have an overtime loss that might be in Philly in the NFC Conference Championship.
Well,
And oh my. And oh my.
Let's take our first break here. Jerry Jones has thoughts on Dak Prescott and Odell Beckham Jr. We'll go around the table and think out loud about what Gerald Wayne Jones had to say on 105.3 The Fan.
That's right.
With
Kevin's
Jon,
all over that one.
Jon Machota, Kevin Gray, Patrik Walker, Newy Scruggs, the Meaty Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite and 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field. United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf. For winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash! Boy, lots to still dive into after the Cowboys losing overtime in Jacksonville. Patrik Walker, you got Kevin Gray, got Jon Machota, Athletic, 105.3 The Fan, DallasCowboys.com, NBC5. All right, so Jerry's on the radio. John's tweeting it out. Nobody gets it out faster than John.
I just want to know how John is like sitting in position, like how him and Patrik like sitting in position, just waiting on Jerry's words. Like, are you just sitting there? You just ready to go and just ready to tweet that thing out as soon as he says it, or you wait for the whole thing to get done and transcribe it and then get it out there? It's immediate.
Go as soon as he says something that you think is of note.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's the maestro right there.
I know. I've always wanted to ask him
that's
that.
the
It's like, are you
maestro.
just sitting there, just waiting, just ready to?
Yeah, I'm sure his process is very Van Gogh.
All right.
Yeah.
Jerry
You
said
really
that.
want to know? Here, this is how deep it goes. I got it all already written out on my phone. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones at 105.3. I have a old-fashioned radio because that's about 10, 15 seconds faster than it is if you do it off the
you
way.
stream it, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm on it.
All right.
I'm telling you, I got my job. Because
No, I see.
I got my job because of those interviews. I'm telling you.
As I said,
Oh, really?
When I was freelancing all the time, I would always be writing something off of Jerry, and it would do good. It would do clicks.
Yeah.
Because nobody else was really doing that of every single one. But I was sitting there, and I was in a position where I'm not going out there every day, and so I can't write the same stuff that the other beat writers are. So I would do that all the time, and then eventually they were like, "Why don't you go out to Valley Ranch more?" And then so I did, and kept going, and then eventually got hired full time.
The grinder.
Fan
Look at
Gogh.
you,
Yeah,
the
it's a
grinder
grind,
right
man.
there, man.
If I would have been born here though, I never would have done that. It's because I was born in Detroit, and the owners and GMs are never made available. So when I moved down here, I'm just like, wait, he's going to talk twice a week on the radio during the season like that? Like I'm like, well, I'll just write off. Yeah, because I was all web. It was morning news website and Fox Sports Out West website. So it was like, you put up as much words and as much content if you want. You know, they're just trying to get as much clicks as possible. And so I was like, wait, he's going to talk, you know, and then Steven too. I was like, oh, I'll be able to find something, at least one thing to write off of every time. Give me something to do. You're trying to put out as many pieces of content as possible or whatever. So that part was great for me. I know that there's a lot of people that roll their eyes at it, when you're tweeting and they'll be like, nobody cares or whatever. I'm like, people care. Trust me, they care.
People care.
Very much so. Outstanding. That's what Jerry Jones said about the game that Dak Prescott played. So, Kevin, your thoughts?
I thought he was good. I mean, what did he go? 15 to 16, I believe, in the first half.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I thought he was great. I mean, obviously you want to have the 2 throws back that he had, but I thought he commanded the offense. You go up to, And after you go, and I had to correct myself because I went back and looked at the replay and said, oh, yeah, his arm did get hit on the one, that he was trying to get to Schultz. But I thought he commanded the offense well. You got out to a 27-10 lead. And again, things kind of just snowballed all of a sudden because your defense kind of let you down. But I thought Prescott was not the reason why you lost the game on Sunday against Jacksonville in my mind.
Yeah, I don't think he was the reason either. And I thought it was one of his better games this year. It's funny because, nationally, you'll see that, these interceptions are adding up. He's got the most, I think, any quarterback since week 8 or whatever. So those are going to be the headline-grabbing things. So when he throws interceptions, particularly pick 6 that loses the game, it's easy for people that didn't watch the game or haven't watched the other games to just say, hey, this is just more of the same. And so, that last interception certainly wasn't on him. The interceptions are of concern. But even with that, you can play devil's advocate, just like with the penalties. The penalties so long, we talked about that, and you can Seattle won a Super Bowl being the most penalized team. Last year, the quarterback that won the Super Bowl was Matthew Stafford. Nobody threw more interceptions than him during the regular season. And so just between us here, I don't think Mike McCarthy is going back in that locker room or after the games and telling Dak in meeting rooms or anything that, hey, man, you need to chill out. You need to chill out. He's saying, no, full speed ahead. And that his quote yesterday about that is exactly what he's telling Dak.
Shooting.
Now, he'll come out there and he'll appease us in press conferences and stuff and talk about, no, of course, we don't need interception. No, he wants him to continue to be aggressive. But when they keep having those interceptions, he's not going to come up there and say, no, it's fine. We can have interceptions. But inside, I think he's fine with that because he knows for them to go ultimately where they have to go, they're going to have to put up points, and you're not going to be able to put up points against good teams if he isn't aggressive, if he is just taking checkdowns and what the defense they're giving him.
Dak Prescott made a mistake or two, but I agree he played very, very well. There's a third quarter lull, which is kind of weird for a Cowboys team that typically comes out of the halftime firing in the third quarter. So not exactly certain what happened there with the field goals and the quick 3-and-outs and things of that nature. But for the most part, in totality, Dak Prescott was not the reason the Cowboys lost. The only thing was that because the defense had such a bad day, the offense and Dak Prescott couldn't save the day.
And, they did. They got you back to 34-31 lead.
Did.
And then you get the turnover from Curse, and you think, oh, all right.
This has to be it.
With 90 seconds, you're going to go ahead and
They had 2 jobs to do. They did the first. They got the touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Defense got you the ball back.
Yep.
Time to end it.
Yep.
You're supposed to close the show.
Yeah.
Did it.
So, and they didn't do it.
Where do you sit on the interceptions with Dak in this game and then the totality of since he's come back from the injury?
The thing I talked about was just looking at the 2 losses. And as I was asking the questions to guys in the locker room, the 2 losses now, the same thing. Turnovers led to other points getting beaten in overtime. Where you had commanding – it's not like, hey, we're up 4.
No.
You had commanding leads here.
Yeah.
And we can debate, arm hit, 2 guys in the wrong place against Green Bay, all that. Bottom line is the 2 picks in Green Bay, 14 points. 2 picks here in Jacksonville, 14 points. They're not good enough. Okay? They're just not good enough to turn the ball over. Like the old Greatest Show on Turf, Kurt Warner and those guys, even Patrik Mahomes and those guys, they could do that. This team's not good enough.
Yeah.
And
but you score 34 points, you should win that.
You got to win. You got to win that game.
Yeah, you're right. You scored 34, and guess what? And how should it have been won? Get your minute 36 rearings on out here and close the show.
Backside.
See,
okay?
Here's the thing.
You're there. Despite, because we argued about this yesterday a little bit, despite all the 500 yards, whatever the defense gave up, when you needed it, they stripped Trevor Lawrence. They gave you the football. I'm on the sidelines at that point in time, standing next to him. We're thinking it's over. We're looking at the Jacksonville bench. They thought it was over.
Sure.
Okay? Pack that thing up and go. But they didn't. You've got to do that.
It's all such a butterfly effect, though, Newy, because the blame for the Cowboys not executing in that final 3+ minutes, it lands squarely on them. Fact.
But did your coaches help you? Did your coaches help you in that situation?
But that situation doesn't exist if you don't get Zay Jones getting Kelvin Joseph to bite down on that double route. If you don't get Marvin Jones getting the best of Kelvin Joseph because he feigns inside to get Joseph leaning just long enough for him to spin back to the out and get a walk-in touchdown.
And
so that's what I'm saying. All matters.
You still had, just like in Houston, you had the opportunity to walk out there with a win. You were going to be sneak out the bear
Curse tried to delete it all.
Yeah,
tried to delete
92%. They had a 92% chance of winning the game after J-Ron Curse for
you and I are standing right there. We're thinking it's done.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all. Yeah, we all
had the magic wand.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know about you, but I was looking at the sideline. There was a look of defeat.
Yeah.
By those guys over there. It's like, look at
and real quick, just because I feel like I say this all the time, I'm going to come off like a Josh Allen hater, but I get so annoyed how he's praised for the way he plays, and then they're so critical of Trevor Lawrence on that fumble. I'm like, Josh Allen plays the same exact way. Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah. Not to mention they're not in the game without Lawrence. Real quick, I just want to throw this in here. This is the quote I was talking about. This might be my favorite Mike McCarthy quote of the year, seriously. What I was telling Patrick about. When he was talking about Dak's interceptions on that last one, he said, that ball was placed right where it needed to be. But other than that, I thought he played an extremely high level. And most importantly, he repeated, he needs to keep firing. He needs to keep going. So let's make that clear because we're not slowing down. Like, that was just really in the face of anybody that thinks that, we're going to dial back the offense because there's this interception problem.
That's Jim Fossil.
I
put my chips on it.
I like it.
What's bothering me?
I like that.
Riverboat Dak.
What's bothering me about this whole thing with Dak Prescott is fans want this player to be in the top echelon of the quarterbacks with the Allens and the Mahomes. It's like they want him to play at a top 5 level. You can't have it both ways, the aggressiveness that Dak Prescott's shown, and then get upset when at times you'll get turnovers from him because you'll see the same kinds of turnovers from Mahomes, from Allen, whomever you want to put in that top category. Those guys play the same way. So I'm going to have to live with some of the mistakes that he makes because if I want him to be a guy that's a reason why you're winning deep into the playoffs like how those guys do, you're going to have to live with some of that.
And what he just said, we could really just take this thing and change it into an Eagles podcast, and you could say the exact same thing about Jalen Hurts getting hurt. It's like, yeah, he got hurt on that play, but you want him to play that way.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and be like, he got hurt. We shouldn't be running it. Well, if you're not running it, you're not going to get to where you want to go. So that just, it kind of, it comes with it.
Jimmy Johnson used to say, it's not about the plays you make. It's about the mistakes you don't make.
True.
And you just look at and you look at their last two losses, both overtime losses where they were commanding leads in the second half. The mistakes cost them. And I'll say it till the cows come home. This team is not good enough to go out here and commit turnovers. We saw it in Houston. Turpin, bam, fumbling the ball, they go right down the field.
I do think they're fine with one a game. I would take one a game right now. Well, if they could do one a game, though, they could get to the Super Bowl on one a game. But two or more, you are getting an issue.
We saw the second one cost them. So.
Yeah, for sure.
And
it is a fine line, though. I mean, I'm not talking about beating Texans and Jags. I'm talking about winning multiple games in the playoffs. I don't think you can be conservative. I think you got to kind of be on the edge to do what Joe Burrow did last year, to do what Matthew Stafford did last year, and get their teams to the Super Bowl. Like, I don't think there was anything cautious about how either one of those teams played. And maybe I'm just a prisoner of the moment because that's the most recent one. But I just feel like the NFL is kind of changing in a way also where Cowboys blow 17-point lead, blow 14-point. Like, yeah, it's
what the Colts did against Minnesota.
You brought up the San Francisco 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo was basically neutralized in those playoff games.
Right, because I don't think he has the ability to play on the edge I'm talking about.
And
so that's why they also are one of the most formidable teams in the NFL and have been for a few years. But that's also why why people talk about how they would be tough for the Cowboys to play. I agree. I also don't think there's any way they're hoisting the trophy at the end either. The 49ers will not win the Super Bowl. They will be a thorn in the side for some teams, but their style of play with Brock Purdy's and Jimmy Garoppolo's, they're not holding the trophy at the end.
When they needed a throw from Garoppolo in the Super Bowl against Kansas City.
Mark it. We'll bet whatever you want. Let's go.
When they needed a throw from Garoppolo in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, he couldn't do it.
Where was it?
He couldn't do it.
Well, here was my issue there. Why are you asking that guy to do it?
But at that
point in time in the game, you're up double digits. You're hurting them with the run. Why did you go do that? It was like the Kellen Moore back. What are we doing? Why? Just tell me why. After the game, what did the Chiefs say? Sure enough, glad they stopped running.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Kyle in the fourth quarter, okay. Julio makes the tap dance, and they're about to win. No, we're going to sit up here and we're aggressive. Next thing you know, the holding call, and you got to punt. And
that's what I was asking about. Did your coaches help you in that fourth quarter with 96 seconds left? Did your coaches help you there?
No.
Because we really haven't talked about, the Mike McCarthy game management, situational management type thing. That came into play, I thought, in that 96 seconds, and the Cowboys having a chance to salt it away.
Mickey fought me about that.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about on the third and 10?
The third down
the
play.
whole drive, I thought.
The 27 second
Are you talking about when they ran twice and then they
tried to hit Noah Brown?
Yeah. I have an issue with the play call on that, but I love I couldn't sit here and tell you that that's my favorite Mike McCarthy quote, and then tell you.
Did they tell you that you didn't like it?
No, I totally think that I like that play. Like I was just telling them during the break, I don't like the call. I like it in a situation where you have a couple of shorter routes. If those aren't there, if there isn't something wide open, Dak, go down to a knee. Make them take that time out. We punt the ball over to them. That's what you do. That's the only thing I had an issue with. But going for it and being open to throwing on that, I had no problem.
And that's
with that.
exactly what we were talking about.
What's
I agree
the
with
goal at that point in time?
Get a first down, end the game.
Okay.
Does that 3rd and 10 play help you accomplish that?
No. But to his point, and what we were agreeing on is the aggressiveness we're totally fine with. But you got to have an out. You got to have a release valve. And on that
I don't hate Dak running on that play.
Right.
And even going down, he gets 5 yards, slides. That's it. It's like, hey, I tried.
Make them burn the timeout in that play.
That or an underneath route.
Because I'll be honest with you, I really like the. We were standing there and they did that where the play started. And Tony Pollard was out wide, and they brought him and they pitched to him. I think that's the one that they got. They get 3 or 4 yards. I don't know. I like that in that situation as opposed to just turning around and handing
John
it.
and I, we are kindred spirits. I said this to Nick Eatman, that very same thing.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yesterday evening. I said, okay, well, they saw the little trick play shovel pass work in the first quarter, and in that instant, that was a perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
And we didn't see it again.
I did not like the Noah Brown going deep and throwing it up to
but
back
I do
shoulder
like
fade. I did not like that.
I like the aggression.
You used 2 plays. They had to call timeouts. It's 3rd down. Put them out there. Let Dak run it. But the bottom line, the goal, I need them
to burn the timeout.
Yeah. I need them to burn the timeout. The aggressive stuff, like I said, this is Kyle Shanahan, the Super Bowl against the Patriots. It didn't need to be. You didn't need to do that. It's nice, and I remember after the game, Kyle Shanahan spoke. We've been aggressive all year long.
Yeah.
That's how we played.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's a Super Bowl, man. It's not about being aggressive. This clock needs to run.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because that's your friend. You want to get this thing over with.
I think in that situation, too, they also didn't want to be the cowards and look like that they were scared of Belichick and the Patriots. Like they were the aggressor. They had this halftime lead. They didn't want all of a sudden – I do believe there's a sense of you send a message to your team like, oh, now we're all of a sudden we're scared or whatever, and that, oh, we got this lead, but that's fine. Now we got to shut everything down. I'm only speaking on that.
You're in field goal range. I mean, when Julio caught the ball,
right.
You're in field goal range. Let's run this clock, and we need 3.
Yeah.
We get 3.
Game's done.
It's 31-3.
How do you know it doesn't get blocked and run back for a touchdown? Just like on what we criticize that play, but we wouldn't be criticizing if J-Ron Curse is able to make that tackle in bounds. I mean,
hey man.
Well, my thing is you can't slice the bread in 2 different directions. If you are one who in the pre-McCarthy era constantly just eviscerated the previous regime's coaching staff for playing not to lose versus playing to win, you can't then have a problem with the aggression on the 3rd down and 10.
Yes.
Now you could have a problem with the play call itself.
Right.
Yeah.
But trying to end the game with a kill shot, you can't say, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." If you're the same individual that got pissed regularly because the previous head coach would not have taken that shot.
At that point in time, I'm trying to make you burn up the timeouts because I want you to run the clock.
Which is why John and I say have a release valve.
Like, where's Dalton Schultz?
You help.
Where's your boy Dalton Schultz?
Fourth receiver?
Yeah.
Where's Hendershot on an underneath?
Where's a back
like
just
that?
leaking out?
Leak it out.
I'll just send receivers out there and Dak go run.
So the play call is the question.
Yeah.
Not the aggressiveness is what we're saying. The aggressiveness, I'm fine with. The play call, you can dissect that as many ways as you like.
But the difference too, though, is like I know that you're not a big Sean McVay fan, and I am. And I think Sean McVay is always aggressive. And again, I think it's prisoner in the moment a little bit because they are the defending Super Bowl champs. I did like the way that they went about their business, and maybe he's not the guy to get you a Super Bowl dynasty, but I do like the aggressiveness.
Just want one at this point.
We should all.
I just want the one.
We should all hope to our teams make the Super Bowl and the Bengals coach is out there doing his thing. So that's what I'll say.
I mean, he did get to the Super Bowl.
I mean,
they didn't
at least
backdoor their way in.
He got there.
Had some
the
curious,
Bengals went the tough way. So.
Yeah, and he had some curious calls, and Joe along the way, Joe Burrow saved his bacon a bunch.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a great coach. I watched that Super Bowl and I just thought I'm seeing two guys out here as head coaches make some curious decisions, and you know what? Luckily for Sean McVay, Zach made more questionable ones than he did.
If you're right, then the league doesn't have very many good coaches. For him to get to 2 Super Bowls, I mean, that doesn't speak very highly of the rest of the coaches in the league.
Hey, look, he should have 2 Super Bowl wins. Should have won the first one. His offense wasn't any good. Uncle Wade was cooking. Okay? Uncle Wade was out there cooking. Defense was good.
Much like what I said about the Niners, they also had something going on there that I thought was
Quarterback couldn't make a play, but
here we go.
Let's take our another break here. When we come back, Boss Man Fat. What else can I say? It's a meeting match right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field. United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf. For winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
This sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is.
It's a non-fungible token. Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Homeownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America NA, Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash. Hey, look. On in the studio, it's the Colts-Vikings game. So if you're a Cowboy fan, you can say, hey, at least we didn't do that.
Nope.
You didn't do that.
The most unserious team in this league found a way to get the largest comeback in NFL history, regular season or playoffs, and it made me sick.
I watched
this,
the Cowboys game, if you're not a Cowboys fan, the Patriots game, that World Cup final. Like, I just don't understand people that don't like sports.
Yes.
I just
dumbest
don't get
dumbest play in NFL history? Patriots? Raiders?
Yeah.
Dumbest play in NFL history?
It's up there.
Who deserved the goat of the week more? Belichick or Saturday?
Yes.
Saturday.
No. Yeah, I'd go Saturday.
No, I would agree. I would say Saturday. Yeah.
One guy, it's an entire half of football. Another guy, it's one play,
Yeah.
That is wide receiver went rogue on.
Well, I mean,
I didn't hear the explanation on that.
He said he was trying to be a hero.
Yeah, he didn't have
he
to
was.
do
For the other team. That's
but
right.
remember, before that play, they went down there and got that crazy touchdown. You know, so I mean, it was a total choke job by the Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the Patriots defense, so I'm watching them like watching points eviscerate. What are we doing? What's going on?
Oh man.
What in the? Oh man, it was a mess.
You played the Patriots defense. Is that because of your feelings about the Raiders?
Look, it got me double-digit points.
No, I know.
Got me double-digit points. But yeah.
You had a defense. You took a defense on the road in Vegas, man. How could you do such a thing?
Number one defense in fantasy. Number one defense, man. Belichick knows himself.
There was a time when this defense was a pretty good fantasy defense too.
Hey, John. Now.
Yeah,
hey, now.
You know what?
Not long ago.
Yes, they used to get sacks on the
Sacks.
reg. On the reg.
Sacks.
One in the last 2 weeks now. One in the last 2 weeks.
Hey, man, it's a problem. It's a problem, and I don't think Micah made an excuse when he said after the game to us, we're seeing different looks. And people have made adjustments. That's what this league is. They've made adjustments. How do we slow them down? Nick Sirianni and the Eagles were the first team to really figure out, okay, this is what we need to do this year to neutralize Micah Parsons. The misdirection, we're giving these guys a whole bunch of problems out there. So,
But I like McCarthy's answer on that yesterday too. Like, Micah.
What's with you in this love fest with Mike McCarthy this week? What's going on with you and McCarthy?
He's been dropping some dimes.
Yeah, his press conference yesterday was really good.
He's dropping some dimes.
Yeah, no, his press conference yesterday was really good. He said basically like, yeah, Micah, what do you think's going to happen when you're in this league? He didn't say it this way, but that's basically what he was saying. It's like, what do you think's going to happen to you in this league? No matter where he's at, that's how Micah Parsons is going to be. Every week it's going to be something different against him because unless if you're Micah Parsons, and I thought about this because I was listening to that Von cast when he was on with Von Miller last week. Von's talking about just the impact it had on him being with that Rams team last year with an Aaron Donald in the middle. So there's only so much you can do against Von because everybody is always you're never going to single up Aaron Donald. And when you do, he immediately wrecks the game. And so you're never going to single up Micah or he'll wreck the game. So that's where someone else has to emerge, Micah obviously has to still be superhuman Micah, but you need a Dorrance Armstrong, get that sack late, or DeMarcus Lawrence, or Osa, or somebody else has to step up with a huge play.
And this is what Dan Quinn's paid to do. So Jerry Jones spoke about Odell Beckham Jr. and he's like, we run out of time to get something done here, guys. Run out of time here. So
he sounded more disappointed than, let's say, maybe the fan base. Maybe he sounded more disappointed. He sounded more disappointed than Patrik Walker would sound about it.
That balloon was very deflated.
This was after Thursday when he said Odell's going to join us.
We're roughly a week after that, and quote unquote stand by, and this thing could break at any moment. And here we are, and he's asked the question here today. And before he even started speaking, you heard the tone was going to be different. You heard the tone. So, and he's making a valid point. As the days roll on, the Cowboys now only have 3 games left in the regular season.
Newy, you know Jared Bell, right?
Yeah.
USA Today. Longtime NFL writer, Hall of Fame voter, best of the best. When he gets a one-on-one with Jerry, they're always just like, oh, no, here we go. So he was out to owners' meetings last week, so on Wednesday. And so we come out here and practice on Thursday, and I see he's out there. I'm just like, oh, no, something's going to happen here. He's going to get something. And sure enough, he gets that Odell quote. I'm just like, man, it's like when he's around, Jerry always gives him something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but last year, I remember after a game, after he got done talking to the reporters, Jared got one-on-one with him, and he told him something. I can't remember what it was, and I was just like, I don't know. I'm always just like, oh, he's going to say something here. I know he's going to say something. And when I saw that first quote in Jared's story, I'm like,
well, it was just so weird how all of that just played out on Friday because obviously he talked to him Thursday,
right?
And the story was published early Friday morning, but it was just kind of like nothing really happened. I think it was around maybe 11 or 12. And then people started to see it and then put the quotes out there. It's like, well, wait a minute. He said this yesterday?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it just kind of like the dam broke. And next thing you know, Odell's coming to Dallas. Jerry said Odell's going to join us. And now we get today, and it's just a real wet blanket.
One other thing. After Jared got done with that interview, we're back in that media workroom, and Clarence has asked him, like, hey, Jared, do you want to go get something to eat? Want to get something to eat? He's like, no, I'm kind of working on something. And then again, I'm just like, damn it.
Like you knew what was
maybe we all shouldn't leave now.
You knew.
You knew what was. Yeah.
You knew. Now,
well, I knew he had something. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know if it was Odell.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, it could have been any. I mean, I don't know.
Well, and that's not none of
this.
Is,
do it. Look, you gotta say something now because you over there just really. You're thinking like
Jared is he's a Hall of Famer for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, he's great.
That's the end of the day. There are people who just they're gifted at it. And people forget Jared was a beat writer here, so he got early, Jerry. So he's got those early seeds of stuff in there. So he's able to get what he gets and knows. That's the other key thing is knowing how to get what you like. How do I get what I need? Kind of like, how do I get my code red? How do I get that thing? Did you order the code red? No, you was right. I did. Like I know you want to say something. So let me just
lean into it just a little bit.
And he knows he knows how to he knows how to get that nugget out of you. Thank you, and do his thing. So that's the and also he'll stop for him. You know that. Yeah. That's half the battle. Will I do this whole scrum and then go let you go get yours?
Yeah.
And he doesn't come around very often, so he'll be able to get it. Sam Farmer, before LA got football back, Sam was always able to go, especially Jerry.
Yeah,
he was able to get Jerry and get that extra time. I've seen Peter King do it. So there's certain folks that Jerry is okay. I like you, and I'm gonna go give you something, and they pull out that nugget. So,
but you know what? And none of this is to say that. Because it's not over until it's over as far as the negotiations between. I don't do that. I don't do that. You follow the odds and the unders and the overs.
Love that stuff.
That's your thing. That's your thing. But I will say the tone is much different. Obviously, the tone is also much different behind the scenes in the building as well. It's not. They've not stopped talking to Odell, but it's time to turn the page and see what T.Y. Hilton can.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Let's end it right there. T.Y. time.
Yeah.
T.Y. time, huh?
Let's go. The Ghost.
Oh, man.
Ghost is in the building.
Patrik Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Kevin Gray, 105.3 The
You got it.
Jon Machota, The Athletic. Check him out. Anything on the injury report, by the way?
I don't have one yet.
It hasn't dropped yet.
Oh, hasn't dropped yet?
But
Okay.
just a quick practice squad update. The Cowboys re-signed linebacker Malik Jefferson. They recently waived him to sign Anthony Rush for nose tackle depth in the wake of losing Jonathan Hankins for the regular season. But having lost Leighton Vander Esch for a short period of time, he's expected to return. They did not have a single linebacker on the practice squad. So Malik Jefferson is back to make room. Seth Green, the tight end, is out.
All right. Great stuff. Love it. Love it. Newy Scruggs, the Media Bash. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!